Hello, my name is Michael Allison, and I'm part of Group 1 in PAF 400, which has been, over the course of this term, researching the potential build of a NASA research facility following NASA's recent discovery of extraterrestrial life, which will be brought back for further research. 3 communities were selected for further research in this study, including Honolulu, Hawaii, Bisbee, Arizona, and Colorado Springs, Colorado. My research in this project was concerning Honolulu, Hawaii, so I'll speak to that for just a moment. In Honolulu, Hawaii, there is a population of 942,000 citizens on the island that stretches only 547 square miles wide, so there's a very dense population in the local area. One consideration that led to Honolulu's stratification as the last community we would choose for this initiative is that population density. With a lot of people in a small area, there's a high risk for any incident at the facility impacting the local community. In addition to that impact, Honolulu itself also has significant transportation infrastructure challenges. In several news articles in the last several years, Honolulu has been ranked as having some of the worst traffic in the nation. Our group feels that this transportation infrastructure challenge could cause operational impacts to the facility in terms of employee availability, folks actually making it to work on time. And then also Honolulu, being in the middle of the Pacific, is roughly 2,500 miles from the closest mainland port. Our group believes that that will cause a logistical challenge for the facility if it's constructed at Honolulu, as construction materials, research materials, and people will all need to be transported into the facility across that distance, either by air travel or maritime travel. Travel by sea will impact the facility because any shipment of people or materials will require a significant time for transportation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Justin, who researched his community for this project.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, everyone. My name is Justin Sanchez. My community that I chose for this research project was Bisbee, Arizona. And I chose that city or that town because being from Arizona, I feel a small connection to it, even though I've never been there. Now, Bisbee is a great small town. They have a lot of pros and a lot of cons that make them a viable candidate for this research facility. Some of the pros would be its seclusion. Now, it's in southern Arizona. There's nothing near it. The closest metropolitan area is about 200 miles away in Tucson, Arizona. So if NASA's thinking about wanting someplace that is quiet and out of the public eye, they've got it. Another thing that Bisbee has going for it is its engagement with the community. From the top up, from the top down, the mayor, the city council, the citizens all want to be involved in the city. I've found that in my research. So good or bad, NASA is going to know what is going on in Bisbee and how they feel about the work that they're doing. Now, some of the cons outweigh those pros though. Now that seclusion part that I talked about is also a bad thing. Being so secluded, there's a very limited resource of first responders and quick reaction forces. Let's say if something happens at the facility, who is going to respond? The city of Bisbee doesn't have the manpower for those kinds of actions. Another thing, kind of like how Michael talked about in his, is logistics and infrastructure. Bisbee only has one highway going through it, so moving supplies and employee traffic through the city of Bisbee to get to that facility is going to be very tight. And I'm not sure if Bisbee would really want to take on that challenge. And lastly, a big challenge for Bisbee is the border wall. Now, we have all seen this current administration and what they're doing with the border. I'm not sure if NASA would really want to have to deal with protesting citizens and also immigrants crossing and maybe potentially coming into the path of the facility, especially with the highly sensitive and highly potentially classified nature of what the work they're doing there. So that's why we didn't choose Bisbee. Although it's a great little town, I'm going to throw it over to Jason, let him talk about his facility or his community and why we chose that community. Take it away, Jason.
Hey, thank you, Justin. Thank you, Michael, for your pieces. My name is Jason Pallotta, and I live currently in Colorado Springs, which happens to be my city that I researched. Now, Colorado Springs is unique in compared to the other 2 cities or communities. We currently have a population of 416,000, which puts us in the medium range for the cities that we're looking at. The population density, though, is also in the center with about 2,388 people per square mile. So it's not the most secluded, and it's not the most jam-packed. What does set us apart would be the fact that we are literally crisscrossed with transportation options. There are multiple highways, interstate and statewide highways that cross through Colorado Springs. Also, the fact that Colorado Springs currently only takes up a small portion of the county it's located in. So there's a lot of land available to build this NASA research facility. What that means is we can transport both building materials and project materials in and out of the facility with relative ease, mainly through the Colorado Springs Airport, which is currently actually connected to Peterson Air Force Base, which brings me to another one of our big points and why we chose Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs currently has 5 military bases within their city. There is Fort Carson, Colorado. There is Peterson Air Force Base, Schriever Air Force Base, Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Base, and then there is the U.S. Air Force Academy. So when we talk about like partnerships and how the facility can gain help from other governmental entities without having to really affect or impact the community of Colorado Springs, there's a lot more help within the area to assist not only with manning, but also with emergency response. So that was a big factor in why we chose Colorado Springs. Along with that, with community involvement and community acceptance of the facility, Colorado Springs has been a military town since the 40s, since just prior to World War II. We started as a tourism town and quickly became a military town. And since the 40s, we've always been a military town. Through all of base shutting down, after all the major wars, we've maintained our military population. So having that governmental partner in town is not something that bothers the people of this city. Whether it be local government partners, government contracted facilities. We're one of the top cities in the country for hiring for government contracts with over 250 contracted agencies. Overall, the city is very accepting and willing to take in these kind of facilities and actually man these jobs. So with all that said, Colorado Springs, after all of our research, really became the #1 pick due to its logistic freedom as far as travel and then moving materials around, its community support, and then also its partnerships with military bases in the area. Those were a lot of the big things that we looked at. And when we looked at everyone on equal ground, Colorado Springs really stood above the rest on being able to give those things to the NASA research facility. Any more comments from my teammates? No?
No, sounds good.
All right. All righty. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, we are Group 1 from PAF 400. This was our pitch for a NASA facility in Colorado Springs. Thank you very much.